right, so this video is for anyone that's still having trouble with any of these SQL sheets. So you can kind of use this video to help you out with the ones that you're stuck on. I'm going to go through them in order, and you just have to scan to, the part of the video that's on the one that you're working on. What I'll do is I'll change the color of these as I go, so that it's easier to see which one I'm currently working on, and you can sort of hop ahead to the part that you need. All right. Now, what I'm not going to do is I'm not just going to type them out on here, because I do want you to have to type them out for yourselves and kind of think about what's happening. But I'll kind of give hints on each one. So number one is sort of the most basic query we can get, because we're not limiting it. We're just saying, give me these two columns and then tell me where they're from. So if you're writing this query, it would start with the word select, and then you have to look in your database and see what album names is actually being stored as, because it's not stored as album names. And you also have to see what album length is being stored at, because it's not being stored as the word length. So it'll be select, whatever you need, comma, whatever else you need, and then the word from. And from is followed by whatever table these columns are listed in. All right, so that would be the first one there. All right, moving on to the next one. All right, so this says write a query that will list all song names, their song number, and their length. So this is just like number one, only we're asking for different information. So you should go into your database. You should see what the actual column name is for the song name, what the actual column name is for the song number, and what the actual column name is for the length. And it'll be select, the first one, comma, the second one, comma, the third one. Then you'll have your from, and then the from is followed by the table name where you found these columns. All right, so it's just like number one. All right, number three, write a query that will list all users' first and last name in alphabetical order by first name. All right, so this one has an extra part to it. You're still going to start with your select. You're going to have to go in the database and see what first and last name are stored under, because again, the column names are different. You have to see what the actual column names is. So it'll be select, whatever it is for first name, comma, whatever it is from second name, from whatever table has this information. And then the new part, if we want it in alphabetical order, we have to use the command order by, two separate words, and then we specify what column we want to order it by. So this one says order by first name, so it'll be select the columns from the table that those columns are in, and then order by, and since this says order by first name, you would say order by, and again, you won't just type out first name, you'll type whatever the name of the column is. All right, now by default, it goes from A to Z, so you don't have to do anything extra, but you could type ASC after the column name, and that would make it ascending, and just be specific about it. But that's the default, so you don't actually need to have that. All right. The next one here, number four, is another order by query. So this one says, write a query that will list all the artists and their debut year with the most recent year at top. So it'll be select, whatever the column is for the artist name, comma, whatever the column name is for debut year, from whatever table you're finding those columns in. And then you're going to do order by, and it says it wants you to put the most recent year on top. So we're going to order by debut year, but again, whatever it actually is called in the database. And then to get the most recent year on top, that means we want it to go from big to small. So instead of doing ASC, you're going to do DESC for descending. So it'll be a lot like number three. You'll have your select, the columns from the table, order by debut year, and then you're going to need it to be descending, so that's DESC at the end there. All right. All right, next one is the first one where we're starting to limit our results. All right, so instead of giving back all the results, we're limiting the results. So that's going to require a new command. So it says, write a query that will list all the albums with a length greater than 3,000. So we're going to do select. We're going to want to know the album name. So whatever column is the album name. And we're also going to want to know the album length. So select those two columns, again, whatever they're called, from whatever table those are in. And then the new part here is the where. All right, so we're going to do where the length, and again, don't just type length, find the column name. So where that column name, you're going to use a greater than symbol. You don't type the word greater than, you're going to use the math symbol for greater than, and then 3,000. Don't write the word seconds, just where album length, greater than symbol, 3,000. But where is how we start limiting our results so we don't get everything back. All right, this is another where query. So it says, write a query that will list all the artists that debuted in 2008. So again, select. We always start with select. Whatever column name gives us the artist name. So again, go into the database, artist name, whatever it's listed under, make sure you're typing it in just as it is in the database, comma, their debut year, because we want to make sure that our query actually works. So we're going to select the artist name and their debut year, however there are in the database, from whatever table those are from. And then our where is going to be where the debut equals, because we only want this one specific year. So it'll be where debut equals 2008. And again, it's not debut, it's whatever it's actually called in the database. So make sure you're using the proper names for all of that. But we'll use the equal sign here, so we can just say equals 2008. All right, so write a query that will find all the songs with a length between 180 and 200 seconds and put them in reverse alphabetical order. All right, so this is going to require two things. It's going to require a where and an order by. So we're going to start with our select. We want the song names because it says list all the songs. So whatever column is the song name, comma, whatever column gives us the length, because we're using length here. So we want, in our select, we want the names of the songs and the lengths of the songs from whatever table those are in. Then we're going to do a where, all right, where song length, so whatever that column name is, and then between is actually a word in SQL. So it'll be where song length, type out the word between, type in 180, type out the word and, type in the number 200. And that will do that query for us. So it's select those two columns from the appropriate table, where the song length, and then you actually type the word between 180 and 200. So it's going to look exactly like this. Now to get them in alphabetical order, after our where, we're going to add an order by. So on the next line, you can say order by, and then we're going to order by song name. Again, whatever it's actually called in the database. And since it wants it in reverse alphabetical order, we have to put the D, E, S, C after it again. Okay, so that should guide you through this. Number 8, write a query that will list every field in the album table where the release date is after 1/1/2000 and the length is greater than 2,500. All right, so there's a shortcut when you want every field in the table. You can just say select asterisk. All right, if you say select asterisk, that'll automatically give you every single field in the album table. All right, from album, it tells you which table it's coming from. So select star from album where release date, and again, make sure you're typing it in the same way it is in the database, is after. So after is another way of saying greater than. So you're going to use a greater than symbol. So where release date is greater than symbol. And then when you're doing a date, you have to type in the date with the pound signs around it. So it'll be where release date greater than symbol, and then make sure you have the pound signs around your date. Otherwise, it won't work. And then the second part is just the word and. When you have multiple conditions in your where, we separate them with and. So and album length, whatever that's called in the database, greater than symbol 2500. All right, so this is combining two wheres. So you've got the where for the date and you'll type out the word and then you've got the where for the length. And again, just make sure you're using the column names in the database. Whoops, I did not highlight this one red. So if you've been scanning, so if you're scanning and you see this red, know that you need to go back a little bit because I forgot to highlight it red. So sorry about that. Hopefully I didn't do that on 7 too. I don't remember. All right, 9. All right, says write a query that will list every song with a song number of 1 and a length between 200 and 205. So again, similar to what we did in number 7. So we're going to select whatever the song name is. Again, we want to know the song, so make sure you're selecting the song name, whatever that is in the database. We're going to want the song number, again, whatever that is in the database, and we're going to want the song length, whatever that is in the database. So our select has 3 things: the song name, the song number, and the song length from whatever table those are part of. And then the where is going to be where song number equals 1 and the word and that you're actually going to type out, and song length between 200 and 205, just like we did on the one up above. So you're actually going to type out between 200 and 205. Okay? Now, number 10, it's just giving you code to write and then asking you what happens in the results. I actually talked about this at the beginning of the SQL 2 video, so I'm not going to go into it again here. Instead, I'm going to move on to the second SQL sheet. All right, so let me just switch over here. So this one says, write a query that will list all the songs and the albums that they are on. And then the hint is link the tables using their primary and foreign keys. All right, so let's start with just the word select. That part is no different. All right, so it's going to be select. Why can I suddenly not find color? Oh, there it is. Select whatever the name is for song name, comma, whatever the name is for album name. From, we're taking information from 2 different tables here. So it'll be from whatever, like this, from song, comma, album, because there's 2 different tables that we're taking information from. Now to link them together, that's what happens in our where. So we have select the 2 columns that we need, from the 2 tables that we need, and then the where is where we link things together. And since we're linking together song and album, we can see that the line connects album ID here to album ID down here. That's what is being connected by this line. So our where is going to be where album dot album ID equals song dot album ID. And that's how you do these linkings. It's the name of the table, dot, the name of the field that the line is touching. The line is your equal sign. And then again, the name of the table, dot, the name of the field that the line is touching. So album dot album ID equals song dot album ID. All right, and that's what the where would be for this one right here. Okay. Now, number 2, write a query that will return the distinct first names from the user table in alphabetical order. So distinct just means getting rid of the duplicates. Now, up here in the examples, you'll see that there's an example, and this query is really pretty simple. You just have to add the word distinct after the word select. So this will be select distinct, whatever the column name is for first names. So select distinct first names from the user table. And then the nice thing about distinct is it puts it in alphabetical order automatically. So you don't even need to add an order by here. You just have to say select distinct whatever the column name is for first names from the user table, and you'll be good to go on number 2. If you have an order by and you say order by first names, it's not wrong. It's just not necessary because Distinct does it automatically. All right. Number 3 says write a query that will list all the songs that have the word love in the title and the artists who sing them. All right. This requires you to link artist, album, and song. All right. Let's take a look at a picture again. So it wants to know the artist name and it wants to know the song name. So when we do our select, it's going to be select artist name, comma, song name. Now, those two tables aren't connected. We have to use album to bridge them together. So we're going to select artist name, comma, song name. But when we do our from, it's going to be from artist, comma, album, comma, song. We have to include album in our from because it's the bridge that allows us to connect these. All right. Now, when we get to our where, we're going to be linking the tables together. So where artist.artistID equals album.artistID, then the word and album.albumID equals song.albumID. All right, so you've got to link these together. Now, that will give us all of the artists and all of their songs. If we only want the ones that would have the words love in it, we're going to do and again. So we have artist.artistID equals album.artistID and album.albumID equals song.albumID and song name like. All right, so instead of doing song name equals, we're doing song name like. And then inside of quotes, you're going to do an asterisk, the word love, and then another asterisk, and then close your quotes. And the asterisks mean I don't care what comes before, and I don't care what comes after. I'm just looking for the word love somewhere in the song title. All right, so again, this is sort of my explanation for this one. I highlighted it at the end, so if you just scanned to this part, you have to go back to actually find the start of the explanation for it. Sorry about that. All right, so that wraps up the love query. Let's move on to the in query. So this is going to be a lot like the example on the front of this right here. Right? In is like a shortcut way of looking for a whole bunch of things at once. So this one says select F name from user where F name in, Sally, Sue, and Sean. Now, I just want to state that the only reason that these have quotes around them is because they're text. If you're doing regular numbers, you don't need quotes. If you're doing a date, they'd have to be surrounded with the hashtag. So it's not that you always need quotes when you're using in. It depends on what you're doing with your in. So this is going to be select. We're going to want to know the artist names, and we're going to want to know their debut years. Those are the two things we want to know, the artist name and the debut year, so whatever those are in the database. From whatever table those are in, and then where their debut, again, look up whatever that column is in the database, where their debut is in, all right, so the word in, and then you're going to need the parentheses. And then inside of the parentheses, you're just going to type these 3 years separated with commas, no quotes because they're numbers, and then close your parentheses. All right, and then that should get you for that one. All right. Number 5 is our group by. So group by is when we want to do some sort of calculation. So this says write a query that will return song ID and the count for any song that is owned by 3 or more people. Now, in our database, owning is the same as rating. All right, so if you own a song, you've rated a song. So we can think of this as any song that is rated by 3 or more people. So what we're going to do is we're going to select song ID and then comma the count of the rating. So what we're really doing is we're counting how many ratings each song has. Now, as far as what that looks like, it looks like this up here, only instead of average rating, you're replacing AVG with count. right? The next part is exactly the same. It's from the collection table. The next part is exactly the same. We're grouping by song ID. Whoops. We're grouping by song ID, which means that each song gets a separate count. We're not doing one big count. We're doing a separate count for each song. So again, select song ID, comma, count rating from collection, group by song ID. And then instead of having average, we're going to be doing having a count of the rating greater than or equal to 3, because this says rated by 3 or more people. So again, you're doing select song ID, comma, count rating from the collection table, group by song ID, having count of rating greater than or equal to 3. Now, number 6 is a lot like number 5 that we just did, all right? The only difference is everywhere that you see song ID, you're replacing it with whatever the column is for song name. And I think it is just song name. So everywhere where you had song ID, you're replacing it with song name. So it'll be select song name, comma, count of rating from collection. But now because we're using song name, it's going to be collection, comma, song, because we need both tables, both the song table and the collection table. And because we're using two tables, we have to join them together. So we've got select song name, comma, count of rating from collection, comma, song, and then we have to join them. So we're going to say where song dot song ID equals collection dot song ID. All right, so you'll have your select, you'll have your from, you'll have your where song.song ID equals collection.song ID. Then we're going to group by, and we're not grouping by song ID anymore. We're grouping by song name. And then the having is exactly the same. It would be having count of rating greater than or equal to 3. All right. So that's the final one. All right. So that should wrap it up. I hope this helps because at this point we do want to be wrapping this up and moving on. All right, so hopefully you can use this to finish up those labs and get them submitted. All right, have a great day.